G'day, this is Shane from Shane's Computer and Network and broadcasting live from Mount Panorama. Check out my bike. I use it to check on these kangaroos right next to my uni. This is video number 2 of basic network topology. This video is intended for the audience of basic network engineers out there who are probably going through TAFE at the moment. They're doing a Certificate 4 or a diploma in network engineering or computer and networking, and they're starting to learn how computer networks work, and they're starting to probably freak out a little bit, thinking, "Oh, this is a bit more complicated than I thought it was," but you'll be all right. You just got to study. Rightio. So we'll be using Cisco Packet Tracer, where I've expanded on the network, which I first demonstrated in video number 1. If you haven't seen video number 1, I would recommend that you watch that. Rightio, let's begin. What I'll do is just share my screen. I'm using Zoom, so give me a minute here while I set everything up. There I am. And 2 more moments here. There we go. Audio. So you should see my screen now. So what we got here, as you would have seen in my first video, we got your basic comms room, which has your patch panels, your network switches, and so on and so on, your router and your firewall. Now, I have already described what these cables mean. You got your patch panels, your patch cables and whatnot, your Ethernet cables. So I've already explained that in video 1. I'm not really going to explain that again. If you want to know what these patch panel cables represent, go watch video number 1 again. All right, now, in the first video, I was using this router down here. I was using the Cisco 1941 series. Now, I had to swap that out because I've put in a voice over IP system for this company. And the Cisco 1941 router it's not capable with using voice over IP, unless if you've got a PBAX system, which uses a session initiation protocol. But Cisco Packet Tracer does not have the capability to emulate a session integration protocol. That's your SIP protocol, SIP. So I've been forced to use this router here, which is a Cisco 2811 series, so I can replicate a business environment with voice over IP telephone services. Now I've also chucked in a few servers here. You've got your Active Directory, your PBAX system, your print server, your network backup server. You're typically going to see a bunch of servers what look like this in your typical comms room. I also got a little off-network backup server. This off-network backup server is not connected to the network. I recommend every business environment have an off-network backup server to mitigate, ransomware attacks. Well, the effect of a ransomware attack. Rightio. All right. So let's go to our actual office environment here. So this is your comms room, your main wiring closet. I'll just call it the comms room. And as I already explained in my first video, you got copper straight through cables, which will typically go to your wall mount. So that's your little Ethernet wall mount, which is, in the wall. Typically, an electrician, they'll run that cable to the wall mount. And your job as a network engineer is to then work from the patch panel, that's a patch panel or wall mount, to the actual network switch. That's your domain. So what we got over here is what I've configured. I'll show you how this works first, then I'll show you how I configured it. I haven't set them all up yet. You've got the cybersecurity department here. The cybersecurity department has a phone. Oh, he's on a call. We'll just disconnect that phone. Rightio. I probably need more coffee. But yeah, here's the phone for the cybersecurity department. As you can see, oh, bloody hell, I'll just bring that back up. As you can see here, that they got a phone which is connected to extension 1002. And I've connected up their phone in the receptionist area as well. So we got the receptionist, they have a phone as well, and I have connected that up. As you can see here, they got the extension number 1001. So let's say someone comes in and to the reception area and it's like, okay, I need to talk to the cybersecurity guy. I heard he's a really awesome lad. And I want to offer him a job with, a a salary about $200,000 a year. Can you give him a call and give him the good news? And the reception will be like, oh, that's great. But we don't want to lose this cybersecurity guy, so we're going to probably offer him $300,000 a year. Let me give this cybersecurity guy a call and let him know that we're offering him more money. So the receptionist will then call the cybersecurity guy on his extension or her extension, which is 1002. Whoops, I did not dial in enough numbers there. Unknown number, press the 1002. Reception calls, and as you can see here, I don't know if you're hearing that through the audio via Zoom, but yep, cybersecurity guy's going to call from reception. He calls up, and the receptionist is like, hey, we got some guy trying to poach you. I'm going to tell the boss that we should give you a raise, and the cybersecurity will be like, oh, rightio, I want X amount of money, and yeah, and that's your typical office environment. So yeah, that's your telephone services working in an office environment. Rightio. So I've set this up just as this simple basic office environment. Let's show I'll show you how I've done that. Rightio. First, let's go to the router device and let's go to the configuration of the router. Right. I've got to do some typing. Don't worry, I'm just going to show you the commands. So you don't have to sit there and watch me type every bloody command. Every command, sorry. So that's access the router. Right here. So the first things first, typically a voice over IP service, will run on its own virtual local area network. So you might have VLAN 50, which is assigned to your data, and VLAN 60, which is assigned to your voice over IP, for example. Some companies, though, don't do that. They should, because it will give them better quality voice over IP services. But in this video, to keep things simple, I'm just going to show you a basic company setup, which is not using voice over, which is not using virtual local area network, sorry, VLANs. In the next video, I'll go into further depth what a VLAN is. For the time being, I'm just showing you a basic company, which is running voice over IP, your telephone services, and also your computer systems and whatnot, all on the same network, all on the same default native VLAN. I found some companies don't even bother configuring VLANs, but they should. Anyway, I digress. Let's continue. So we got your IP DHCP pool, as I showed you in the last video. This is the DHCP pool, which provides IP addresses across to your whole network. So every computer or network device gets an IP address. The only real thing option I've changed here is I've just added option 150 to point to IP address 192.168.0.1. What option 150 is, it's basically saying, okay, it's having the router, from my understanding, basically act as a tiny file server. Because the voice over IP, the telephone service, I'm just going to call them telephone services. Their voice over IP, but I'll just call them the phones. The phones, they need to save configuration files. And these configuration files are saved onto the router, into the router's flash memory. You don't need to worry too much about this. This is just a technical background of it. Because the phones, they need to save information like the phone's extension number and other configuration details of the phone, which is saved into the flash memory of the network of your network router. This option 150 basically is saying, okay, you need a tiny file server to do that. And it's telling those voice over IP phones to point to that IP address of the router to save your configuration files. I assume probably with other servers, you might save your voice over IP configuration files in another network location. Probably every network's different. I'm just keeping this very simple for you, novice network engineer. All right. So the interface is still the same, IP address 192.168.0.1. I haven't connected it to the internet yet. That comes in another video. Now, what we got here, this is the new part in the Cisco in a router configuration where this Cisco device is actually acting as your PBAX system in a way. So to access this configuration, you got to type in a telephone service command. You then define how many phones you have. You then define the DN, which is display number. I believe that's what that is. And that assigns the oh yeah, it is the display number because that assigns your extension number down here. You then got to assign an IP address to point to the router device, which is acting as the router for your voice over IP system. You've got to assign it a port. I'm using port 2000. So voice over IP calls, they go via port 2000 to that IP address of 192.168.0.1. And I also got the auto assign command here. So this auto assign, this is actually pretty good. This auto assigns MAC addresses to the phones. It saves you typing out them. It's efficient to use this command. So just use that command, auto assign 1 to 14. It will save you typing out a lot of other stuff like the MAC address and whatnot. You then got this command here, the ephone display number 1. So in this business environment, I'll have 14 telephones, and each telephone is going to need to have its own extension number. So telephone number 1 gets the extension number 1001 or 1001. Telephone number 2 gets the extension number 1002. You probably you get the point here. And yeah, ephone display number 14, extension number 1014. So you got to type out all these commands. What you'll need to do is you'll need to type out all these commands manually yourself. I haven't figured out a shortcut to that yet. But whenever when I was talking about this auto assign command, so what auto assign does, that's going to auto assign a MAC address and buttons and whatnot to ephone 1 and ephone 2. Ephone 1 being the receptionist phone and ephone 2 being the cybersecurity phone, or vice versa. So that's automatically assigning these MAC addresses. So if you don't use this command, you're going to manually type this out, for each phone, which has got to be a bit of a chore. So that's why you use this command, auto assign. And yeah, it's straightforward, simple setup for that. Now we go to the network switch, and I'll show you what I've done for the network switch. We can switch 1. Yeah, switch 1. CI, audio. 1. Audio. Yeah, you got to also add a span tree port fast as well. Span tree port fast is our requirement. And here we are. Here's what we got here. So interface F0/21. Let's look up which one that is. I believe that's the one in cybersecurity. Oh, F021 should be the one in receptionist. So let's go back to your let's move me out of the way here. Let's go back to your logical layer here. So this interface, yeah, F021, that's the receptionist phone, right? So now let's go back to the network switch. So you got F01, that's used in switch port mode access. It's used in span tree port fast. It's also used in switch port voice, not access, but voice. Switch port voice VLAN 1. So this assigns this phone to the native VLAN so it then can get a DHCP address. Now, more secure company systems will most likely assign voice data to a different VLAN. So they won't assign the voice data to VLAN 1, the native VLAN. They'll assign it to VLAN 10 or VLAN 20. But I'm going to be talking more about virtual local area networks in the next video. I want to, gradually build things up here. Well, yeah. So yeah, that's roughly what you have to do. It's got to be access port, not a trunk port, as discussed in previous videos. A trunk port is pretty much for connecting a switch to a switch, and the access port is pretty much connecting a switch to a network device like a computer or a phone. Also, when you're connecting these phones up, for example, let's go up to physical security, for example. You connect your data cable to the switch interface of the phone. and then you connect the PC to the PC interface of the phone. Now this first did kind of confuse me. I was like, okay, how do virtual local area networks work? But apparently there's a workaround it. I'll get onto it in the next video. I'm trying to keep things straightforward as the best I can without getting too far into detail. So yeah, obviously I need to configure all these other devices. So okay, so that's the boss. The boss is called, and the boss is like, hey, my phone's not working. Configure this phone for me. All right. So I'm just going to go into the switch where the boss's phone is connected to. CLI. Which, yeah, he's connected to switch number 2. What interface is he connected in? He's connected into switch number 5. So F5. IDO. So let's bring up the configurations. Enable config T. Show 1. Do show 1. Alright, he's connected to F05, switch port mode access. So we need to activate expanded tree. What's that command again? Anyway, so we're just going to go config T. I really should have a cheat sheet next to me. I did go around to do it. Oh, we're already in config T. Alright, so let's go into interface. What did I say? F0 dash, it was F0 dash 5. I'm quite sure it's 5. Yeah, it's 5. Let me confirm. Yeah, it's 5. So he's on interface number 5. It's better to write this down. But F05. Alright, switch port mode access. Now he's already got that, so we need switch port voice. Sometimes it's easy just to check the commands which you already used on a previous device. So I'm just going to bring up this one here. Yeah, switch port voice VLAN 1. That's, well, which one am I? Oh, he's on switch 0. Right. Switch port, so I'm going to put him on VLAN 1. What is switch port voice? Yeah, switch port voice VLAN 1. Let me just double check. Yeah, switch port voice VLAN 1. We also need span and tree port fast. Let me just confirm. Yes, span and tree port fast. That's got 2 ends in it, doesn't it? There we go. Rightio. See if that's worked. There's the boss's phone. There it is. Let's fast forward time a bit. Fingers crossed. I didn't forget anything, or there's no issues with this switch. Yep, there you go. See, the boss has now got the boss has got the extension. So the boss is basically the boss has been told that someone's trying to poach their cybersecurity guy because there's a skills demand for cybersecurity professionals at the moment. Cybersecurity guy, he's 1002. Right. So let me just give a demonstration. So the boss is like, oh no, we don't want to lose our cybersecurity guy. That's the last thing we want. So he's got to say, okay, I've got to call the cybersecurity guy. And the cybersecurity guy be like, oh, yep, what's going on? How you going, boss? And the boss is like, oh, yeah, I heard someone's offering you more money for this job. We're going to offer you a raise and a company car. And you're going to be allowed to go on the spaceship with the boss to the moon. And the cybersecurity be like, oh, okay, that's a good deal. Yeah, I'm going to accept that offer. When's the moon trip, you know? And yeah, that's straightforward, basic configuring, a basic Cisco telephone service on with a basic Cisco network. Now again, every network's going to be different. Sometimes you're probably going to, most of the time, most likely, I assume, you're going to be dealing with PBAX systems, which use the session iteration initiative, the SIP protocol, the SIP protocol. But I'm trying to keep just things basic and simple for now. For the basic network engineer at TAFE is probably playing around with Cisco Packet Tracer. Now, for generating commands, there's two ways you can probably get commands. You can just generate them with an AI system, but this is important when you're on the job. And if you are using AI just to generate, say, a basic framework for your commands, never, don't do this, not even once, never post your company, your clients' network information into a third-party AI system. Don't do it. Use placeholders instead. Just don't do it. You've got to respect the privacy of your client. Or the second way you could do it is you could just look up Cisco documentation. Third thing you could do, well, I've done this myself. Let me just show you. I got it in my laptop. There's an easy way to do it. You're going to have to get yourself one of these. This is basically code box. And inside this code box, I've got a whole bunch of command information, such as this. So I wrote this out way back in you probably can't see it because of this light. But anyway, let's show it. There we go. So yeah, just write down your commands to take a little cheat sheet with you. So this command here just tells me how to configure DHCP and virtual local area networks. You know, you got configure DHCP on you probably can't see because the light is terrible, you know. But yeah, you got commands to configure a DHCP on a router. They use basic placeholders. This is what you use in TAFE. You write down the commands because no one's going to remember all the damn commands. I mean, you can always use the help function, which I believe I showed you in a previous video. And we just go to the COI, you know, and just put in a little question mark, and it's going to give you a list of the commands to use. So you got that. That's another option as well to work out how the commands are used. So to summarize, option number one, have AI generate a basic command framework for you. It's pretty good with that. It's quite efficient, but don't share the client's personal network information with AI. Don't do that at all. Option number two, which is kind of what I did way back in TAFE. Visit Cisco documentation websites and that. Study that. That's probably the best way to do it because you kind of do assign it to memory. You don't want to offload it, you know, all your thinking to AI because, you know, that's just silly. It's not a good way to learn. And then you just, option number three, you just write down the commands and use a little cheat sheet, carry it around in a little code box. So yeah, that's what I would recommend. Righty up. So in the next video, I'm gonna I'll do a video about virtual local area networks and how they defend against a malicious actor. So what we got over here, so we got the bad guy. The bad guy has sneaked into the bathroom. So this is the bathroom of the business. So the bad guy's come into the you know, the reception area. He said, "Oh, I need to go to the toilet." And one of his mates probably is flirting with the receptionist to distract the receptionist by the bad guy plugs a little cable into the wall mount into the office and sneaks into the bathroom so they can hack the company system because they want access to this server here. They want access to the suite company data, which is stored in the accounts section. Now, as I'll show you here, as you can see here, if you're looking at the IP address, the gateway, let me just bring this up here. So if I go to IP address here, as you can see here, this is all on the same network, 192.168.0.31, on the same default gateway, 192.168.0.1, vice versa, IT, you know, they got the same kind of network as well. They're all connected to the, you know, 24 subnet, 192.168.0.1, which means they can all remotely connect to each other. But in the next videos, which I'm going to do, is I'm going to demonstrate how you can use virtual local area networks. So you segregate this network. So this network in accounts, well, your customer service data, for example, which also has an IP address. Desktop, it's in desktop. Instead of that connecting to default gateway 192.168.0.1, it'll connect to the default gateway 192.168.10.1. and I can I can put some in some access control policies, for example. What that means is their accounts. It's basically called defense in depth. It's an old military term, defense in depth. You have multiple layers of defense. So you don't want anyone hacking this customer data. Um, so what you'll do is you'll prevent, say, someone in sales or reception. You'll prevent them from remotely accessing the system which contains customer data. Now they can still access the customer data by your database and whatnot, but you don't want them to remotely access the actual physical system, the administrative component of the system, because that's when they can extract all the data, hit you with ransomware, and so on and so on. So you put layer in defense and protect your customer data, and that's that. And VLANs is the way to do that. So at the moment, this bad guy here, for example, let me just bring up a quick command and I'll give it a demonstration. All right, that's command prompt slayer, customer data. Now, this should work. So I haven't tested this yet, but it should work. IP configuration. Oh. Okay, so the IP address ends in 42. So this bad guy, he's going to see if he can connect to that server. 42, wasn't it? As you can see here, the bad guy is hiding in a bathroom, and he's sending a ping echo 8 request, which that basically tells me that yeah, he can actually see the server in the network, and then he can start doing some further attacks from there. But if you enable voice over virtual local area networks, you can basically kind of yeah, prevent that. You, like as I said, lay in defense. So yeah, to summarize what we've spoken about today, because my coffee's getting a little bit cold, is yeah, I've demonstrated connecting voice over telephone services. You have telephone services to a basic company network, and yeah, and making calls between those telephone services. No worries. Yeah, good luck with your studies. Apparently, there's a skill shortage in network engineers in Australia and cybersecurity professionals. So if you do keep it up and you pay attention to your studies and that, hopefully you'll probably make a lot of money, and then you might be able to afford a house in Australia. Might, the way the property market's going. But yeah, keep it up. Nice. All right. Let me just end this video here. I'll just stop sharing here. So yeah. Keep up your studies. If you're in your TAFE, do your diploma, finish your diploma. Then probably look at doing some university. If you get a certificate 4 or diploma in TAFE, you can do what I did and just go to university and probably do a more specialized role. I'm doing a master's in cybersecurity. When I finish that master's, which I'm finishing probably next month actually, I'm gonna go celebrate at the Bathurst 1000. The WAPCO 1000, supercars, watch the car races. Then I'm going to probably look at doing another degree in network engineering. So that way, yeah, keep up your studies, finish TAFE, get into network engineering, and you make all the big money, hopefully, and you have your big house with a big dog and a big car. Nice. All right. Have a good one, and good luck.